Folks, either the Constitution matters, or it's just a parchment sitting in the National Archives. Welcome to Courage and the Constitution. I'm just a guy digging behind the headlines to get to the nuggets of truth. I'm tired of the rhetoric and the propaganda. I'm being lied to by the media. I just want to know what's going on in the world. So let's do this. In the last video, titled Can Government Force America Rendered Unarmed Without Abolishing the Second Amendment, I briefly broke down many ways in which, yes, unfortunately, they certainly can. However, there is a big question, or a caveat really, and that is only if we allow them to. Now, I've been releasing videos in a series explaining Biden and Harris's gun plan and how that works right into the desires of the left to disarm Americans as their eventual goal. Now, with that in mind, I want to show you just one example of how these people really think about their position and their power over you. Remember, the ultimate question is, how does this particular kind of character align with the fidelity or an unshaking faithfulness to the Constitution? Now, I'm going to show you a quick clip, and I want you to consider this type of person and how sacred they consider your right as we the people, and whether this type of person is more indicative of someone who serves the people or rules over them. Though this clip is of just one individual, the highest levels of American government are filled with more like this. They think alike, their character is similar, and they all want the same thing. So can we be assured of where these people stand on the Constitution and whether they'll uphold it or oppose it? Well, watch this short video that tells you exactly where they stand in regard to their sacred regard or contempt of that document.
Strongly held opinion that says COVID is all an overreaction, it's a hoax, I'm not wearing a mask, I'm not following these rules. You have sheriffs upstate who have said, I'm not going to enforce the law. Now, how a law enforcement officer says, I choose not to enforce that law, I believe that law enforcement officer violates his or her constitutional duty. I don't consider them a law enforcement officer because you don't have the right to pick laws that you think you will enforce, and you don't enforce laws that you don't agree with, right? That's not a law enforcement officer. That's a dictator.
Well, there you have it. In his own words and in his own show of what he believes about his power over people. He represents every one of these people who intend to infringe upon our rights, including Biden and Harris. He boldly and with every belief and conviction just came right out and told the law enforcement officers of New York that if they do not enforce his edict, it's not a law, mind you, his edict is not a law. If they not enforce it on people who he feels are breaking his standard and therefore must meet the wrath of his justice, and if the people dare instead uphold and stand by the oath they took to defend the Constitution, it is this man, Cuomo, who declares it is they who are then no longer police, but dictators. That is the perverted mind of so many of these people in power on the left. And Cuomo? Yes, your officers, they do have the right to refuse to uphold an order of yours. For one, that is not a law. And for two, it violates the Constitution. People have the constitutional right to assemble, and you do not get to take that away from them. Oh, and the oath that your officers took, Cuomo? Their oath is to the Constitution and the people. It's not to you. So no, I know that you love your power and your lust for the control you get to have while breaking your own demands, by the way, the same demands that you force over others, the power. But the police are not your Gestapo. So I'm sorry if this whole COVID thing is politically advantageous opportunity that you do not get to wield like a spoiled little boy hitting anyone he wants with his new toy sword. But don't be surprised when the people begin to gather and stand up in defiance of your hypocritical commands. Do you know who the tyrant is here? It's you, Andrew Cuomo. You are the dictator. You who have the death of over 6,500 seniors on your hands because you gave the order to put all these people sick with COVID in nursing homes. Then, like the hapless coward you are, you blamed everyone else, including a president who never told you to do such a thing. So yes, the police do have every right to defy you, and so should every citizen who has a spine in that city. You are a coward. You are a child. You and your mayor both. Oh, and a message to the police? Remember that part of the oath that you took to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And Governor Cuomo, and those in office just like you, do you remember this document? Remember, the Constitution is the foundation of this nation. When you attack this country's foundation, then you attack this country, and that makes you an enemy. We, the people, have the constitutional right to stand against the enemies of this nation. Oh, one more thing. And as a bonus, literally, as I was setting up to film this video, I checked my newsfeed on my phone, and what I am about to show you just popped up. It's Raphael Warnock, a Senate hopeful here in Georgia, where I live, without even realizing it, putting his own racism on full display. Now know this, I hate racism in all of its forms, and I will call it out every time I see it. And when a senator hopeful is this blatantly racist as to call out all people who happen to have light skin racists, then that tells you what kind of people who are wanting to make decisions that will affect us all. But enough of me. Watch it for yourself.
No matter what happens next month, more than a third of the nation that would go along with this is reason to be afraid. America needs to repent for its worship of whiteness on full display.
Now, to those of you watching this video, do you agree that these people must be held accountable? Can we do so by being passive and quiet? How has that worked for people on the more conservative side of the spectrum so far? You know, those who are labeled racists or white nationalists and all manner of just these horrendous things, including people of color, just because they're conservative and they don't hold to the philosophies of the left? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Maybe your view is different. And if you find this content of value and you believe others would benefit from it, please like, subscribe, and share. It will do a lot to help us all out.